I made this video for Sons of Liberty Gunworks. The government doesn't want you to have this.
Ban assault weapons now!
And at the end, I concluded with this. Let's go, Brandon. Now, they actually just shared a small portion of the video. The whole thing hasn't come out yet, but it performed really well and I was really thankful for that. But it did actually get a lot of negative comments. And so I wanted to take today's episode of Just Hit Post and talk through some of those. Now, I will say, I don't really care about negative comments. If anything, it makes me kind of feel like a celebrity on the internet. But there were a couple of specific things that were said over and over again that I thought it was important to address. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. The first thing, the most common negative comment that was received was that saying "let's go Brandon" is either out of date or just cringe, and you should use big boy language like F Joe Biden. The reason that I chose to say "let's go Brandon" is because the sentiment that I was trying to communicate was F Joe Biden, but to me, that comes across a little bit as like an immature teenager throwing a tantrum as they slam the door on their parents. And I didn't want to communicate that. I wanted to have a little bit more weight and seriousness. It was really brought about in the perfect representation of mainstream media trying to distort things and us still taking that and making it a little bit of a battle cry. It's also very specifically directed at one individual and then the system of misinformation that put him into place. I think "Let's Go Brandon" is a really great way of expressing defiance against that person and against his system. The second most common negative comment that I got was against me, saying that either I look metrosexual or I look like some guy from Sprockets, which I had never even heard of, but essentially just attacking me. And again, I don't care about attacks against me or the way that I dress, but what I do care about is the fact that there's this notion within the gun community that you have to fit a certain stereotype or look a certain way. If you're not wearing camouflage and driving a pickup truck, then you don't get to have a gun. I know no one says that outright, but that ideology I believe deters a lot of people from gun ownership. And I have a big problem with that. This is actually one of the #1 things that made me start this channel and made me want to influence, if I dare use that super cringy term, people towards gun ownership. Is that no, the only thing that you need to be able to buy a gun, learn how to use it to defend yourself, your way of life, and fight for the freedoms in your country is a desire to do all of those things. That attack on someone, whether it be me or someone else, for the way that they look, like Lucas Botkins gets attacked for this all the time. Attacking an individual who is fighting for our freedoms because of the way that they look is completely contradictory to me, and I really hate that. And the last thing people said was that I lost them when I said God-fearing, and one comment said, "What does religion have to do with any of this?" I responded to that, everything in all caps. America is a nation that was founded on Christian and biblical principles. Whether you hold to those principles yourself or not, you can't read the Constitution or any of the amendments without seeing those underlying biblical principles. For me, then, even more important than that is outside of America, the foundation and principles that drive gun ownership and personal responsibility are ones that are in fact all biblical. Someone like myself wanting to be able to take care of themselves, protect my family, raise my family, and lead my family as I see fit, and then be a responsible, capable, serving citizen. All of those things are driven by my spiritual and biblical beliefs. When it comes to talking about something as serious as concealed carry, gun ownership, the Second Amendment, our freedoms and rights in America, we get into very, very, very treacherous waters when we start to remove religion and take religion out of it. In fact, all of the freedoms that we are losing in America are directly the result of us trying to undermine that biblical foundation. And the last thing that I want to say is, and I'm sure I'm over time on this video and just soapboxing a little bit, but at the end of the day, I love negative comments and I love negative feedback and criticism. I think they're super helpful to either see how people are thinking or how people are reacting to things, or to actually get helpful, constructive criticism. But in this case, and in a lot of cases, the best way to combat something that you disagree with is by putting out the information that you do agree with. So I always like to challenge people. If I post something that you disagree with or that you just don't like or that you think is super cringy, the best thing that you can do is make your own video.